Well, hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Conversations. I'm excited. I want to talk about this concept of play your game. I'm really tired of copy and paste leaders, copy and paste churches, tired of everyone sounding the same, dressing the same, preaching the same sermon in different fonts. Really, the church was never designed to be a clone factory. So today I just wanted to talk about what it means to play your game, the one God actually called you to. So I'm going to give you a few thoughts, a few recommendations, and simply, again, just as if you and I were at coffee having a conversation, these are conversations that I'm really having in private with people that I coach, that I pastor, that I love. And I just want to start this. You weren't called to imitate. You weren't. I just want to strip away the noise and talk about what it means to actually live this out. You are not and should not be living in a copy and paste world. That's just like a funny paradox, right? Because we feel a unique calling from God, yet nothing about what we're doing that God calls us to do is unique. It's all the copy and paste. And I understand that why fix something that isn't broken? Yes. But you should filter it through a lens of you, your wife, your spouse, your church, your city. So again, here's just some simple thoughts here. And we're going to start with the title. The title is the first point. Play your own game. You don't win trying to mimic someone else's assignment. God is not mass producing plans. He doesn't do that. He's handcrafting callings. And Proverbs 3 Verse 6 isn't about efficiency, it's about trust. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean on your own understanding. So to me, what happens is we trust God that He called us, yet we don't trust Him for the plan. That seems a little silly to me. I think as leaders, we have to be aware that if He actually called me, He is going to actually be a part of the journey of strategizing and planning and building. I think He wants to be in the weeds with you. So my question to you about you playing your own game is, are you building what God called you to, or what gets the most likes last week? Because what seems like to me, and then again, I'm not saying everyone or every church. I don't know every church. I don't know every pastor. I'm just talking about the ones that I actually talk to. There just seems to be a level of imposter syndrome in being a pastor. And I think there's imposter syndrome in every single sphere of influence, but especially in the church, we tend to look and sound like the people that we like. And I'm not saying that's bad. I get inspiration from pastors that I love every day of the week, 100%. But I'm not a copy and paste version of them. I'm not a JV version of the pastors that I listen to or listen in. This is not the game we should play. You should play your own game. Number 2, God didn't get it wrong with you. He knew exactly what He was doing when He made you. So this is what you're actually doing, and I'm telling you to stop. Stop rejecting His design in the name of relevance, because authenticity is your power. That is where your power lives. Your authority, it comes from your authenticity. It does not come from sounding and looking like other pastors and other churches. Because what works in Sydney won't work in Phoenix. And what works in Alabama potentially won't work in California. I'm not saying it 100% can't. The method in it, absolutely, sure. Take the onboarding system. Take the structure of a message. That's fine. What I'm saying is don't rinse and repeat. Because what you're doing is you're robbing yourself, one, of the growth journey of figuring out what works for you and what works for your local context. But it also just dismisses God. Because again, He knew exactly what He was doing when He made you. He made you in a specific way. He did not make you Chris Hodges. He didn't make you Judah Smith. And I love both of them, 100%. I love them both dearly. And yet, it is not your responsibility and calling to be a JV version of them. Because you are absolutely rejecting God's design for your life when you're trying to be somebody else. So my question to you is, when did you start believing somebody else could do your assignment better than you? When did you start believing that somebody else's personality fits better than yours on yourself? That's not even a healthy way, and it's not an honest way of looking at yourself, because God created you and he did not create you to use you in a different way. That contradicts the design. That's a bad design. You're not a bad design. He didn't get it wrong with you. Number 3, don't pretend, be present. You can be polished and still empty. The people you lead today, the church, the small group, the team you lead, don't need your performance. They need your presence. And you need to be present with Jesus. That's the cycle. You are present with Jesus. Your team are present with Jesus, and they're present with you, and you're present with them. Presence is everything. The future is human. If you want to make a difference in 10 years, if you want to build a healthy, thriving church right now, be present. Stop impressing and trying to impress other pastors that you want to build a clique, because that's what you're doing. It is the constant cycle of you are worshiping pastors. Those pastors reciprocate it. And what ends up happening is you build a church to impress other pastors who don't live in your city, who are already going to heaven. And to me, that just feels not the right design. My question to you is, are you leading people or just entertaining them so they don't notice you're distracted? Are you actually leading them? Think about the practical side of that. If you drive a truck and have a trailer, the trailer is following the truck because the truck is leading it. It's moving it somewhere. And we call it leadership all the time because somebody just likes us. Well, that's not leadership. You can't desire to be a leader and also want people to like you. Those two things contradict each other. So are you leading people, or are you just entertaining them so they don't notice you're distracted? You're distracted by people pleasing. You're distracted by growth. You're distracted by whatever's in front of you. So just don't pretend. Don't pretend. And by the way, your team wants to be involved in that. If you feel overwhelmed, if you feel stressed out, if you feel distracted, what a great opportunity to actually be able to utilize the people that are in your world. Number 4, this one's fun. You'll like this one. Jesus builds the church, not your branding. There's nothing wrong with creative strategy. I am a creative director for a brand, for businesses, for a lot of companies outside of the church. I have multiple streams of income. I don't even get paid by the church. I love creative strategy. We have one of the best creative directors on the planet, in my opinion. She's absolutely amazing. But there's nothing wrong with creative strategy until it replaces spiritual authority. So your reels might grow a crowd, but only Jesus can grow a soul, and only Jesus can transform lives. And that goes back to the episode last week. We got to stop thinking about the people that are not in the room. Our strategy as a church should not be about the people who are not in the room. Because here's the difference. You're either discipling people or you're farming them for content. And I'm just keeping it straight with you. 2026, that's what's happening. People are farming for content in churches. And you can always tell when the preacher is preaching to Instagram, not the room, because they sound cute and they want to be liked and they want to be viral instead of carrying depth. So are you discipling people or are you farming them? Number 5, turn pastoring into discipling. This just make this one super practical. Ask better questions, sit longer at the table, walk with people, don't just preach at them. Because the mission is people, not platforms. You just got to get better at asking questions. The best pastors, the best leaders I've ever been around don't talk all the time. They ask great questions and they dig. It's an ongoing joke in my sphere of influence that Josh says, tell me more about 1,000 times a day, because I really want them to tell me more. I want them to give me the full picture. I want them to be 100% transparent. I want them to give me the full picture. Sit longer at the table. Invite people at your dinner table. Invite people to dinner. Invite people into your world. The way to think about ministry is categorizing things. You have your personal time, You have your family time, you have your church time, you have your fitness time, no. All of it is one. You are one person with one life. Integrate people into your life. Integrate people into your dinner table. Integrate people into your nighttime routine with your kids. That is the most forming and building you can ever do, is not putting somebody on your calendar. Just bring them into your life. You got to walk with people. You can't just preach at them. Because if you're preaching at them and not walking at them, they're not listening to you. They're hearing you, they're just not listening to you. So here's my question for you about this. If nobody ever reposted your sermon again, would you still preach it? If nobody liked the YouTube upload, if nobody gave you affirmation after you preached on a Sunday, would you keep doing it? Because if you live for affirmation, you will die from rejection. Think about Peter, the same guy hyping up his best friend, rejects him and says he doesn't even know him. He's screaming at a little girl about it. So to me, you got to be so secure in your calling, whether there's 5 people or 500 or 5,000. If you're called to do it, your job is to be obedient. It's not about the outcomes. It's not about the reposts. It's not about the comments of other pastors. It's about people. 2 more. Be bold, not busy. Burnout is not proof of calling. If you want people to affirm your calling, you're in the wrong business, because you're going to end up working for that. You're going to work for affirmation. 2 Timothy 1:7 wasn't a suggestion. You've been empowered, lead. We talk about this almost every podcast. Busyness is not a badge of success. It's a warning sign. If you're just busy, you don't have any calendar, you don't have a structure to your life, a structure to your day, you're just kind of going with the flow, you might be good, you'll never be great. Because efficiency determines your level of longevity. So you want to have a great career, be disciplined in your efficiency. I get asked all the time, how do you do all of what you do? And yes, I'm constantly growing. And yes, I tend to say yes to a lot. I understand that. And I am ruthless about my efficiency. If something is not worth my time, if something is a waste of time, if something could have been a text message or a voice memo, shouldn't be a meeting. If something's in person that should have been a Zoom call, let's just do it on Zoom, make it quicker. So just be efficient. Don't be bold, not busy. And lastly, discipleship starts with you. This one's practical here. Don't preach what you haven't practiced. Accept the grace you offer others and steward the gift God gave you unapologetically. You just got to practice. You got to practice what you preach. If you preach about intentionality, you're not intentional. That is not integrity. That's lying. That's what that is. Are you rejecting what God gave you because it doesn't look like somebody else's gift? A lot of times, to be honest, we think it's not of God because it doesn't look like somebody else, but that's usually the indicator it is from Him because it doesn't look like everything else. Because again, why would God create you uniquely to use you in a not unique way, corporately anyways? So He's going to create you one way to use you in another. That doesn't make any sense. He wants to use the actual version of you. And like I said, insert any word that you want the outcome from your team. Discipleship starts with you. Generosity starts with you. Faithfulness starts with you. Conviction starts with you. It all starts with you because everything rises and falls in leadership. So everything about leadership is a mirror. It just really is. It's everything about leadership is a mirror. So everything that you see in your team that you don't like, it is something that is reflecting yourself. And we can either be self-aware to see that, or we're going to have to go on a journey to find it. And we got to dig because like I said, it starts with you. So if you're just exhausted trying to be somebody else, good, because this video is for you. That version of you will never be sustainable. At some point, you are going to burn out of being somebody you're not, because God does not need a copy. He wants the original. He does not want a JV version of somebody else. He wants the varsity you. He wants the true version of yourself. So stop shrinking, stop scrolling, stop trying to build a church that fits into somebody else's blueprint. The world doesn't need another echo. It needs a voice. The city that you're in, it doesn't need another echo. It doesn't need another copy and paste. It needs you to be yourself, to be authentic, and to have and carry authority. So here's my last charge, and we'll run through these points again. Get clear on your assignment. Like what are you called to do? Not not the blanket statement, not what goes on a resume, the true identity. And get honest about where you've been pretending. And for the love of all things holy, play your game. Who cares what other people think? Bring wise counsel that you actually trust and that they know the full version of yourself, and ask them, am I being myself, or am I trying to build something that will impress my peers instead of God? So play your own game. God didn't get it wrong with you. Don't pretend, be present. Jesus builds his church, not branding, and turn pastoring into discipling. Last two, be bold, not busy, and discipleship starts with you. We'll see you next week.